The office was silent. Not peaceful. Tense. Because when the CEO's system went down, everything stopped. "Why is it still not working?" she snapped. Her voice cut through the room. Sharp. Impatient. Employees avoided eye contact. No one wanted to answer. Because no one had a solution. "Call someone," she said coldly. Now. Minutes later. A man walked in. Simple shirt. Tool bag in hand. Not what anyone expected. "IT support," someone whispered. He nodded. Daniel Carter. A single dad. Freelancer. Called in when things got difficult. The CEO barely looked at him. "Fix it," she said. No greeting. No patience. Daniel didn't react. He simply sat down. Opened the system. And started working. Fast. Focused. Different. Within minutes. The room felt it. He wasn't guessing. He knew. The CEO watched quietly now. Curiosity replacing irritation. "What's the issue?" she asked. "Corrupted file chain," he replied calmly. And no one here noticed it. A few people shifted uncomfortably. The CEO crossed her arms. "Can you fix it?" "Yes." No hesitation. That answer alone changed something. Silence returned. But this time, it was different. Not tense. Expectant. Daniel worked quickly. Typing. Rebuilding. Restoring lost structures. Then. A screen flickered. A folder opened. By accident. He paused. Because what appeared wasn't code. It was a photo. A woman. Not in a boardroom. Not powerful. Not guarded. Just, real. Smiling. Soft. Different from the CEO standing behind him. Daniel quickly looked away. But it was too late. "Did you see something?" her voice came. Quiet. But sharp. Daniel hesitated. Then answered honestly. "A photo opened by mistake." Silence. Heavy. "Describe it," she said. The room froze. Because this was unexpected. Daniel turned slightly. "That's not necessary," he replied calmly. "I'll close it." "Describe it." This time. Not a request. An order. Daniel took a breath. Then said. "You looked happy." Silence. The kind that changes everything. The CEO didn't speak. Didn't move. Because no one had ever described her like that. Not in years. Not ever, maybe. "Anything else?" she asked quietly. Daniel hesitated. Then. "You looked free." That word hit harder than expected. Because she wasn't. Not even close. The CEO stepped closer. Looking at the screen. At the version of herself she barely recognized. Then. She asked something no one expected. "Am I pretty?" The room stopped breathing. Because this wasn't business anymore. This was something else. Something real. Daniel didn't answer immediately. Because this question wasn't simple. And he knew it. Daniel didn't answer right away. Because the question wasn't about looks. It was about something deeper. The room stayed silent. Everyone waiting. Watching. The CEO held his gaze. Not as a boss. But as someone searching for truth. Finally. Daniel spoke. "Yes," he said. Simple. Calm. But not rushed. The CEO didn't react. Why? She asked. A strange question. But not to him. Because you looked real, Daniel replied. Not like this. A pause. The words landed carefully. But deeply. Not like this, she repeated. Daniel nodded slightly. Right now, you look guarded. No one in the room dared to move. But she didn't interrupt. You look like someone who doesn't trust anyone, he continued. And maybe, has a reason not to. The CEO looked away. Just for a second. Then back at him. And in that photo, she asked. You trusted something, Daniel said. Or someone. Silence. Because he was right. She knew it. Finish your work, she said suddenly. But her voice had changed. Softer. Quieter. Daniel nodded. And turned back to the screen. Within minutes. The system was restored. Files recovered. Everything working. It's done, he said. No pride. Just fact. The CEO looked at the screen. Then at him. How much? She asked. Daniel closed his bag. Standard rate, he replied. She frowned slightly. You solved in minutes what my entire team couldn't. That's my job, he said. She studied him carefully now. Different from before. Stay, she said. I have an offer. Daniel paused. Then shook his head. I can't. That answer. No one expected. You didn't even hear it, she said. I don't need to, he replied. Why? She asked. Daniel picked up his bag. Because I know what it costs. Confusion spread across her face. What does that mean? He looked at her. Calm. It means time, he said. Time I don't have to give. A pause. My son's waiting. The room shifted. Because suddenly. He wasn't just a technician. He was something more. You're choosing that over this? She asked. Yes. No hesitation. The CEO looked at him. Really looked this time. And for the first time. She understood something. You're the one who's free, she said quietly. Daniel didn't reply. Because he didn't need to. He simply walked toward the door. Then stopped. Turned slightly. Keep that photo, he said. It reminds you who you are. And then. He left. The room stayed silent long after. The CEO stood there. Looking at the screen. At that photo. The version of herself she had buried. Slowly. She sat down. Not as a CEO. But as someone thinking. Deeply. Later that evening. In a quiet office. She made a decision. Not about business. But about life. And the next morning. Everything began to change. The next morning felt different. Not because the office changed. But because she did. The CEO stood in front of the mirror. Looking at herself. Not the image others saw. But the one from the photo. The one Daniel noticed. For the first time in years. She didn't rush. Didn't put on the usual mask. Instead. She paused. And asked herself quietly. When did I stop being her? No answer came. But the question stayed. At the office. People noticed immediately. She walked slower. Spoke calmer. Listened. Something she hadn't done in a long time. Meetings changed. Decisions changed. The pressure in the room softened. But one thing stayed the same. She couldn't stop thinking about him. Not because he fixed her system, but because he saw her clearly. That afternoon, she did something unexpected. She canceled her last meeting, picked up her keys, and left. Not for a deal. Not for business. But for an answer. She found the address easily. A small house. Quiet street. Simple. Real. She stood outside for a moment. Then knocked. The door opened. Daniel stood there. Surprised. But not shaken. "You found me," he said. "You left something unfinished," she replied. He stepped aside. "Come in." The same warmth as before. The same small details. A child's laughter echoed from another room. "Dad," a voice called. Daniel smiled. "Give me a minute," he said. The boy peeked around the corner. Curious. Then disappeared again. The CEO watched quietly, taking it all in. "This is what you chose," she said. "Yes." Still no hesitation. She nodded slowly. "I understand now," she said. A pause. "I didn't come to offer you a job." Daniel raised an eyebrow slightly. "Then why are you here?" She looked at him. Honest. "I came to ask something else." Silence. "Can you help me fix something that's not a computer?" That caught him off guard. "What do you mean?" She took a breath. "My life," she said. "No pride. No power. Just truth." Daniel didn't answer immediately. Because this was bigger than any system. "I don't know if I can fix it," he said finally. "But I can help you understand it." She nodded. "That's enough." Days turned into weeks. They met often. Not in boardrooms, but in quiet places. Simple conversations. Real ones. He didn't impress her. Didn't try to. He challenged her. Gently. Honestly. And slowly. She began to change. Not her success, but her definition of it. She spent less time chasing control. More time understanding people. Including herself. One evening, she brought something with her. The photo. She placed it on the table. "I remember this day," she said. Daniel looked at it. "You look free," he replied. She smiled slightly. "I was," she said. Then looked at him. "I think I'm getting there again." A quiet moment passed. Not awkward. Comfortable. Then. Her voice softened. "When I asked you if I was pretty." She paused. "I wasn't asking about my face." Daniel nodded. "I know." She looked at him. With that same softness from the photo. "Am I, now?" she asked. This time. He didn't hesitate. "Yes," he said. "Because now you're not hiding." Her eyes lowered slightly. But she smiled. A real one. Not practiced. Not forced. The kind that couldn't be taught. Only found. Outside. The world kept moving. Busy. Loud. Demanding. But inside that small moment, everything was quiet. Because sometimes, the most important things don't need noise. Just honesty. And the courage. To see yourself clearly. And maybe, to let someone else see you too.